Yep. So we've got another question from Malachi. It says, "Can Ohio State stop Michigan's run game?" This is coming from an Ohio State fan. I want to know what you think. So he posed this one to you, Mark. So I'll let you kick it off.
Well, I guess for Michigan fans, it's too bad they didn't play last Saturday, because if that Ohio State rush defense would have showed up in Michigan's run game, you got to think, and it just wasn't flat out. It was a little bit of both. It wasn't just flat out, Ohio State's not physical enough to stop this run. That was part of it. They were getting beat at the point of attack, but also there are just some head scratchers when it comes to defensive scheme and being able to adjust. Oregon ran one play where it just busted wide open 3, if not 4 times, where they basically brought the tight end in motion from left to right to bring an Ohio State defender to that side. And then they had the wide receiver just crash down and seal off the left side. And
off and
there
running.
was like nobody in the screen, and they kept doing that. And Ohio State never adjusted to it. So I don't know. It looks like this early season looks like 2018, and somebody in the chat actually brought that up.
Oh, God.
So Dre knows very well in 2018, Michigan, and I stated it the week of the Ohio State-Michigan game that Michigan should win this game. And I lined up everybody that they both played, and there was no comparison between the two teams. Ohio State still had a super talented team, but they just hadn't put it together. Their defense was atrocious that year. They gave up 51 the week before to Maryland. And if Maryland doesn't, if they don't blow a pass in the end zone for a 2-point conversion in overtime, that they were going for the win, they beat Ohio State. And Maryland was not good, and they rushed for over 300 yards on Ohio State. So I went game by game, like they both played Maryland, they both played Nebraska, Indiana, on down the line, and said every game Michigan's outplaying Ohio State. Every game, same common opponent. And at that point, I'm kind of a metrics guy, like line it up, and I'm not going to blow one game out of proportion. But when there's 5 like opponents, and Michigan dominated all of them, and Ohio State scraped by all 5 of them, then I'm going into that game saying they play very like schedules, and Michigan's just a better football team. That said, I wasn't surprised when Urban Meyer and the boys put together a game plan and took Michigan to the woodshed when it was game time. So I'll never discount Ohio State once they get to that game, but they're playing defense right now. And it's just not this one game. It goes back to last season and the Minnesota game this year. They're playing defense like they did that season. Now, they still went 13-1 and won the Rose Bowl, finished number 3 in the country, but they needed Dwayne Haskins to throw 50 touchdown passes.
And Michigan helped a lot with that. We contributed to a lot of that number that day.
Yep.
And, I'm sorry, you hit a soft spot with 2018. And, so Desmond can really, talk about this. There's a funny backstory to that game. So, Michigan starts off that season losing to Notre Dame at Notre Dame. And, they go on their revenge tour. They win 10 in a row, and they're dominating everyone. Mind you, once again, Desmond is an Alabama fan. I call him at the work, as we normally do. We talk about football, college football in particular. And Desmond, what did I do?
Oh, you called me. And so usually, it's like, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So it's usually in the car. So it's like, Bluetooth. When I see, he didn't call me, I answer the phone. And the first thing I hear is, we want all the smoke. We want Bama. We want them. No, this is the year. We want them. We're gonna beat them. I'm ready. We're gonna play Ohio State this week. We're gonna beat them. Everything's lining up, and it was just the funniest thing ever. And actually, I told him, I'm like, listen, man, the way that you guys are playing right now, and we talked about it, I'm like, Ohio State should have lost that game to Maryland. I mean, if the quarterback doesn't one hop the wide open throw in the flats, Ohio State loses that game as I think they should have. So I'm just like, Michigan is just trending up 10 in a row. Ohio State is just, based on that game, you're just like, they're struggling, man. I'm like, you guys are in good shape, man. You guys are in good shape. And then the wheels absolutely fell off.
and I learned my lessons then, Mark. I never discount or Ohio State, because I tell you one thing, you guys just right now you have our number, and another benefit, and I think this has benefited you guys a lot, even when you come into a season like this year with a new quarterback and question marks on defense. By the time we get to the game, consider the fact you guys have won 14 out of the last 15. When we get to the game, by then you typically have smoothed it out, or answered a lot of those question marks throughout the season. Typically you do. You're not saying you're perfect on to that game, but you tend to find out what you have or don't have and make an adjustment. So even if now it looks like, if Michigan played today with Ohio State, they have a pretty good shot of winning. By the time we get to that last Saturday in November, that may not be the same Ohio State team. And so I learned my lesson. I will caution Michigan fans to think about that. It's okay to feel pretty good about it, but be careful what you ask for, because by the time we get there in November, they may not be the same team. Nope,
that is very
never
true.
do it again.
Yeah, it's, you got to take it one game at a time.